It's not to be like the world, and not to be like the great majority of American Christians, but to be like Jesus Christ. I don't know why you're clapping. I'm talking about you.
What's wrong with you people? I'm serious.
You can't say amen, you ought to say ouch.
Hello, Humblebees. Welcome to Tulips and Honey.
Hi, Humblebees. Welcome back to another episode of Tulips and Honey. I am your host, Lauren Hereford, and today I have a very special episode for you guys. I teased a little bit about it on Friday, so some of you guys were already expecting something a little bit differently, but if you didn't hear about it on the Friday mega list, this episode is something that I wanted to do for you guys because you guys all struggled with me through the CDD episode. So this is something that's going to be fun and lighthearted that hopefully you guys will enjoy. So today I am going to be giving you a behind the scenes look at what it takes and what it looks like to put on this podcast and this program for YouTube. So I'm really excited. I've enlisted the help of my family members for some of the angles that you guys are going to be seeing for this. So if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm going to be doing the best I can to describe certain things to you. If you're listening, most of the listenership here is actually listening on podcasts. So if you're listening, I'm going to try really hard to make sure that you guys can also see or feel like you're here with it if you're not watching on YouTube. But this is going to be fun. So I'm really excited to walk you guys through exactly what it takes. I debated whether or not I should show you guys like the before and after of getting myself ready, but this podcast isn't about me personally, and so I wanted to kind of consider what would actually be helpful or edifying to you guys, especially if you're out there and you're considering doing a podcast or you're thinking about maybe making some content for YouTube. Hopefully this is something that will be helpful for you guys to see in the backgrounds, but I don't think it's helpful for you guys to have to see me without hair and makeup done. I don't know who that would be helpful for. I don't think it would be helpful for me personally. But anyways, we're going to basically get started here by running you through exactly what it takes to get to this point to where I'm at right now. So every time I am about to record, I start by turning on my on the air sign. My sweet husband got me for Christmas. It's my favorite, and I have it on, and it just sort of gives me that like feeling of now it's serious. Now we're getting started. So my on the air sign, in case you're listening and not watching, is one of those cool neon signs that my husband had specially made for me. So that is the first thing that I do. And then of course I start up my MacBook Pro, and this is the way that I record. I have the little camera thingy, and the MacBook Pro already has an excellent camera, so that's great. And if you're watching, you're actually getting to see the actual behind the scenes right now because I have a crew member on set actually helping me record. So that's really neat. This is my Mac. This is a new piece of equipment that my sweet husband got me for this. This over here on my little desk is the old computer, which stays over here because you guys know on the Mega Live events, I like to get to see what y'all are saying. This is how I see what you're saying whenever I go live on the Mega List. It's by keeping this second computer over here. So behind me, as you guys can see, is a green screen, but it's not a real green screen. It is plastic tablecloths from Walmart because I am so very, very cheap. As you already saw as well, there is boxes underneath my MacBook Pro because I'm too cheap to let my husband get me a MacBook stand. And so he's mentioned it several times. It would be a lot easier for me if I had a MacBook stand, but that costs money and these boxes were free. And so all the magic that you might see whenever I am recording is actually happening on top of boxes. And that is the beauty of having, a recording where you can see me, but you can't see what's happening in front of me. And also a little bit of why I wanted to do this is so that you guys could see the background scenes are not maybe as elegant or even as professional as it may look, and hopefully that'll give you guys some encouragement if you're wanting to actually do a podcast yourself. So let's talk a little bit about my mic, because this is a new mic. I got this for Mother's Day. I love my microphone. It's very, very super cool. I'm going to show you guys why I love my microphone so much. So you are going to get to see exactly why it is that this is the best microphone in the world. And the reason this is the best microphone in the world is because it comes apart. It goes into pieces. And that makes me so happy. So this guy here, he lifts all the way up and then folds all the way down, and then it all crunches together. And isn't that neat? So before I had this one, I don't remember the name of the other one, but I've never had an expensive like $100 mic. This mic is actually the same mic that I've had for like a long time. The mic stand is the new thing that I got. And so the stand itself came from a music store. So usually, you guys know I order all of my stuff super cheap online on Amazon, and I just get the cheapest thing I can find. That's not how my husband rolls. He's not even about to get me something cheap. So this he found at an actual legit store, which is kind of neat, I think, you know, something fancy and cool. But I personally am too cheap to get things like that. So that's why I love my mic. It's a super fun mic. I don't know why I can't get this thing to hang the way I want it to, but as long as you guys can hear me, I can fiddle with that later. But that's my microphone. So if you're watching or listening instead of watching, you didn't get to see that, but it does fold in on itself, which is cool because a lot of times we're traveling. And as you guys know, this is my setup right now, but in a few weeks, we're going to be leaving. We're going to be moving to a new state. So I'm going to have to pack all this stuff up. So I love the fact that these things are portable. Now, you guys have heard me mention several times that there's a squirrel that runs across my window. I'm in a little basement area here. And if you are looking at my window, which of course has my spurgeon stuff and my fossils and stuff up there and things that Kaylee has made me. But that is the window where the fat squirrel runs across all the time and distracts me from very important interviews. So that is one of my favorite things about this little room is that it has that really cool feature of fat squirrels running and flittering across. So this is the little bit of my desk. My area is usually not this clean. I did clean it for you guys so that you would get to see a nice clean section of my desk here. Obviously you can see that I do keep, to my husband's chagrin, I keep my MacBook Pro up on a couple of boxes, a shoe box and the actual box that the computer came in. And like I mentioned, he wants to get me a stand for it, but they are kind of high. And I mean, this is already, it works and it's free. And so one of the things that I was hoping that I could accomplish with all of this is to just show you that it doesn't take a lot to put something like this on. It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars to do something like this. So you can see my books. I have books on my desk that I keep over here in case I need to reference them. And of course, obviously, they are also holding one of my lights. I do have my lights all over the place. I had to work really hard to figure out the way that the lights were supposed to work. Whenever it comes to YouTube, there has to be certain lights in certain spots to make sure that there is no weird glare or shadows everywhere. And so that took me quite a while to get all set up and taken care of, but I don't have any professional lights either. So one of the things that I just don't ever seem to be able to do is really sink money into something because it seems like if there's a cheaper option, why not use the cheaper option? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. You guys let me know in the comments if you have the ability to comment. Tell me if that's just me or if that's something that you guys also do, because I love podcasting and I love getting to do this. And the reason I love getting to do this so much is actually just because you guys are wonderful. And I love getting to talk back and forth with listeners and getting to know that this is something that's entertaining for you guys, that you're enjoying. I was concerned whenever I was trying to think of something that would be edifying, that I would actually end up doing something that was maybe just not helpful. And so I was thinking about what I was lacking. Something that was a problem for me personally is that there's just not a lot to watch or listen to even. We have a small Reformed community. And so when we want to go and we want to watch something, we have a tremendous amount of preachers, right? Well, not a tremendous amount of preachers, but we have a tremendous amount of their sermons to watch. You know, we have the Exposit the Word, their YouTube channel, dropping footage from Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones, and it's the audio, but it's been fixed up. It sounds fantastic. We can listen to his sermons, even though he's gone on to glory. There's sermons from Charles Spurgeon, obviously being read by somebody else, that we can listen to. We can listen to decades of R.C. Sproul. We can listen to decades of John MacArthur. We've got Bodie Baucham, Paul Washer. We have just a tremendous amount of that, and that's great. And that's something that's always going to be there to build us up and help educate us, teach us, encourage us. The one thing that I was missing was just something fun, entertaining, something lighthearted to watch. And I love to learn. I don't like to waste time with anything else. So the reason why I wanted to create a show that was entertaining but also educational in one way or another was because that's just the thing that I would want to have available for me. And so that's why I did this, where I wanted to put together a program like that. And I don't have the like the freedom in my own mind, my own conscience, to just blow money on things that are maybe not necessity. So that's why a lot of the stuff in this office is just really bootleg, not bootleg, but it's cheap. It's the cheaper versions of things. And I hope that it still looks good and sounds good. This is the same microphone. It is a Mayono. So it's not a name brand microphone. It's a microphone that I found on Amazon because it was on sale. And the first microphone that I used, though, if you guys are, if you've been watching and listening for a long time and go way back in the Wayback Machine, all the way back until the very beginning of this podcast, it was actually called Afterthought. And Afterthought was the name of it because it was supposed to be a podcast just doing, just recording the afterthoughts of things that I had written in the blog, because you want to keep your blogs short. People don't, they always say they want like 600 to 900 words. I personally appreciate blogs that are any length as long as they're biblically sound. So I would finish my blogs and then have a lot left to say. So that was the idea, that my podcast was going to be the afterthought of the rest of the stuff that I wanted to say in my blog. And so that was the start of it. If you go way back all the way there to the beginning, the little microphone that I was using was $12 on Amazon. And you guys, you have to understand that my husband loves to spoil me. He loves to give me the nicest of everything. That's why he got me a MacBook Pro. I mean, he's just a wonderful, tremendous husband. And so it's hard for him to be married to me because I'm such a cheapskate. And I'm just like, I don't, there's not a lot of anything that I want to spend money on, right? Like you guys, if you're watching and you notice that I tend to have different colors of nails on, I put them on for interviews and the mega list and stuff like that. These are $5 press-on nails from Walmart. I can't have people touch my hands. So I can't go get my nails done. Even if I thought that wasn't frivolous, I wouldn't want it anyways, because I don't like people to touch me. But these are the little impress nails at Walmart. And if you're a gal and you need something like that, these are the only ones that don't pop off, y'all. I was standing in the nail aisle trying to think of something. I can't remember what the interview was for, but it was one that I really wanted to like look professional for. And I thought my nails just never look professional. Sometimes there's like nail polish, peeling off and stuff. And so I'm standing there, and here's this sweet little farmer lady literally working on the farm, and she's like, these impress nails I can put on and they don't pop off whether I'm out on the actual farm working stuff, tilling, all that stuff, or whether I'm doing dishes or dealing with animals. And I was like, okay, well, that's pretty hardcore. These are the things that I'm going to use then. And I remember being a little kid and having like those press-on nails that just popped off almost immediately as soon as you go to sleep, and then you'd wake up, they'd be all in your hair. These don't come off for like at least a week, and then I get bored with their color and I take them off. So I don't know how long they would last if I didn't get bored with them, but that's how cheap I am. These little $5 boxes come with like 2 or 3 manicure sets in them, and so I'm cheap like that. I don't like to waste money if I don't have to. And so that is difficult for my husband. So my first microphone was $12, which he was like, this is going to sound bad. And honestly, when he got me this new mic, there was a big difference in the way that the sound worked. But the point is that little $12 microphone worked just fine. And something that is hopefully going to be encouraging for you guys is that when I got the chance to talk to Ray Comfort, he told me about the fact that he is out there recording with his cell phone and a microphone hooked to his cell phone. So that's the footage you're seeing of college age kids and stuff. That's footage on his cell phone. So we have the ability with the different things that we have. If you're out there and you're thinking, maybe I could make content, maybe I could be a content creator, give people something that they can watch, just something that's encouraging, a way to use your time for the glory of God. That's the way I see it. You may not have the expensive stuff. That's okay. It's really, really okay. Use whatever you have. You don't have to have all these things to actually create content. And one of my favorite podcasts out there is The Sidebar by Dwayne Atkinson. So if you guys know who that is, that's the voice behind the Bar podcast. So he's done some tremendous interviews, and he has another podcast called The Sidebar. And The Sidebar is him explaining how to podcast. And one of the great things he does is he gives you the range of prices for different things so that you can understand that, like, the smaller brand or the cheaper brand microphone, it's still going to record your voice. It might not do it to the extreme clarity of the $200-$400 microphone, but whether you're using like a Blue or you're using a no name brand one like this, either way, it's going to record your voice, and there is editing equipment that you can use to make it sound even better from there. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be encouraging, so that let's see here. One of the things that I have had in the back of my mind for a long time, and I've probably mentioned it to you guys before, is that I never want to appear to be something I'm not. I never want there to be this image that there is a standard you can reach, but you're just not able to reach it, and I have. And so that's not to be cocky, not because I think that, I'm so special that you guys might actually think that, but just because I know the human heart. I know how we, especially as moms and women, we compare ourselves to one another a lot. And so I had a very sweet friend come to me one day, and she was talking to me about how frustrated she was with her own sin. And she was just explaining to me that she was, trying so hard, and she felt like she was spinning her wheels. And I made a comment about how I understood, and she was very taken aback, and she basically was, like, what, that, yeah, right, not you. And so I was like, oh, sis, sister, if you could hear the thoughts that I have on a daily basis, you probably wouldn't even want to be friends with me. I'm struggling with different things, but I'm still struggling with sin. And she basically had the impression, because it wasn't on the surface, because it wasn't out in the open, that there was a standard of perfection she couldn't reach, because she thought that I had that standard of perfection. Now, here's the part that gets me every time whenever I think about this. I wasn't saved. I was a false convert. The reason why it seemed like I was a little Miss Holier than thou was because that was the image I was portraying. It's not because it was true. And I had a brief moment where this sweet friend in front of me, broke my heart with her earnest desire not to sin. And I knew I didn't have that desire not to sin. And to think that this sister, who's obviously way more, in my mind, that's how I saw it at the time, way more holy than I was, to think that she was, not reaching whatever standard I was supposedly setting, really broke my heart at the time. And so I wanted to be honest with her. It was a rare moment of honesty where it was like, no, really, I'm struggling with sin. And the truth is that I wasn't struggling with sin. The truth at the time was just that sin was something that I enjoyed, and I wasn't going to give it up. It just was not also going to display it before anybody. Nobody knew about the tremendous amount of fear and pride and ego all happening inside my heart, my idolatry at the time. But it was still there. Unfortunately, on the outside, no one could see that sin. And so it made it appear to this sweet lady that there was something that she was lacking, because she was being honest about hers and I was not being honest about mine. And so that's always been in the back of my mind. As women, we do tend to compare ourselves to one another quite a bit. And it can be discouraging if you are looking at somebody thinking, well, wow, she's doing something I could never do. That's just not the case. This is a $3 worth of plastic tablecloths behind me, my green screen. If you're not watching, if you're listening, behind me is just a few dollars worth of plastic tablecloth from Walmart that I tacked up to the wall, taped up in certain spots. I have a couple of thrift store lights in here that I got at the thrift store because I am literally that cheap. Right before this pandemic hit, I got one of these lights at the thrift store. The other one is like a $5 light from Walmart. The other one over here is another little Walmart light. I'm not sitting in a real studio. So I love the fact that I'm able to make it appear that way. We want to do things for the glory of God. We want to do them to the best of our ability. So I'm not saying, be so cheap that you're doing things that are not glorifying to God. What I am saying is that if you have the impression that I'm professional at all, I want to make sure that you don't have that impression. I want to get rid of that impression altogether. That's why I have bloopers. The bloopers are there for you to see that whatever you think is happening, whatever the full episode, I want you to get to watch it without distraction. I want you to get to laugh with me and enjoy whatever the topic is, whenever I'm talking to the directors like Brandon Kimber and I'm asking him about the background scenes, what he's doing, and I'm trying to pull out like how hard that work is and show you guys exactly what's going on behind the scenes of other people. I don't want you to be distracted by the bloopers at that point. So I pulled them out. I also don't want you to think that I'm like sitting here being little Miss Professional and I'm knowing what I'm doing when I'm really just like you guys out there struggling through everything. So it's important to me that you guys know that while this is a lot of work, it's a lot of effort that goes into this, that it's not unattainable. I'm not a very good technological person. I know that that's kind of hard to maybe believe because I'm able to do these things and put this stuff together. It took a lot of trial and error. I always tell that to people who are asking me questions about different things that I'm able to do. Trial and error is the only way that I've learned any of this stuff. You guys, whenever I first started podcasting, I didn't know what I was doing at all. I had the little $12 microphone and it wouldn't plug into my computer. It would not work. It would not record with my computer whatsoever. So I had to research and figure out that there had to be a secondary line, an auxiliary cord. So I had to order this special cord that connected to another cord that connected to the microphone that then connected to the computer just to get this little microphone to record with my computer. Because when I was ordering the little $12 computer, I didn't check to see if whether or not it was actually compatible with my computer, and it wasn't compatible with my old computer. So that's the kind of stuff where I'm actually learning as I go along, and so I'm making mistakes. And the only thing that I would encourage you guys is whenever something doesn't work, just Google it. Don't give up. Don't think that you're just, it might not be anything to do with you. It might just be something that's a quick and easy fix. So I've been trying to get, whenever I go live, I'd love to go live with other people. And I use the software OBS to go live, and it's a great software. It works perfectly fine whenever it's just me. But every time I bring somebody else into it, they have a weird echo or you can't hear them. And so I've been trying to fix that for months. I have followed every instructional that I can find. I've tried everything that I can do. And no matter what I do, there's always still this weird background echo. And so I'm still working on a lot of stuff. I'm still learning as I go along. The idea here is just that you just keep going along. You use what you have to the glory of God. And then as you go along, you learn. And so that's kind of the reason why I opened my podcast up to other podcasters. So at the very beginning, like I mentioned, it was originally called Afterthought. I found out really quickly whenever I had a co-host join me that name was already taken. And so I didn't even know to check that. Honestly, I messed that one up pretty bad. The Afterthought was a podcast. Mine was called Afterthought, but The Afterthought was a huge podcast that is about electronics. And so I had to change the name, which was a tremendous undertaking. Now some of my links have different words in them than they should, and so there's ways to fix that I haven't gotten to yet. So that all those things are little things that maybe somebody who's super techie and understands how to fix that stuff would probably be a lot better at than I am. But I slowly fix things as I go. I've got like a list of things that needs to be done, and I get to what I can get to because I am a wife and a mom first. My homeschooling, my sweet daughter comes first. My relationship with my family is the first ministry that I have to make sure that I am caring for my home and my husband and my daughter. That is obviously the most important thing. So I fix things with this as I go along, as I have extra time with that. So the reason I wanted to bring other podcasters in is because I had no idea what I was doing. It was really scary. And so I thought, well, listen, I have this subscription. I use Podbean. Podbean is my podcasting host. And so there's an unlimited amount of podcasting time that I can use. So with my subscription I pay for monthly, I can podcast for 80 hours a month if I want to. It doesn't matter how many hours I want. And so I thought, well, here I have this free option for other people. If they want to join with me, I've got to pay for it anyways. I might as well like open it up to other people. And also maybe it won't be so scary because they'll have somebody here that can help, somebody that's at least been through some of this stuff. And anything that I can't figure out, we can all figure out together. And so that's why I opened it up, because this is a difficult thing to start. And one of the things that I was really concerned with at the very beginning was that I had already missed the boat on podcasting. So the amount of podcasts out there is insane. There are a lot of podcasts out there. Unfortunately, there's not that many podcasts that are reformed out there. Even less so women podcasting reformed out there. And so I thought, well, okay, at least I have a little bit of a niche. I have this area that is underserved, so we can focus on that. And also some of the other podcasts, maybe a little bit more serious. So I was like, okay, well, I can be a bit really goofy. And so maybe I can do this where I entertain you guys in a God glorifying way, and also do a little bit of educational stuff, and then at the same time make sure that my theology is soundly reformed. So that's sort of the background of this podcast behind the scenes. So I know I've given you guys like a little bit of a glimpse of why I podcast and how it works and everything, but I really wanted to go through some of the steps. So in case you guys are thinking that this is something that it's not, like, oh, it's probably just one click of a button and then you're done. That's definitely not it. So we're gonna just go straight from here to there. I use the app or computer program called iMovie to edit. That's my editing software that I use. I use iMovie because, you guessed it, it's free. It's already on my Mac. So there are a couple of other options that are free, though. There's the DaVinci option. That is, I would venture to say, probably the best free option you're going to get. However, it's very complicated, and I have yet to learn enough about it to use it. I'd like to get there, but I don't have a lot of time left at the end of my days to learn that. So their other option for editing is GarageBand. Originally, I planned on using GarageBand. However, I found really quickly that it was not going to work with the equipment that I had. So those are three options that you can use. I use iMovie. iMovie is really simple. So I'm going to do something fun here. If you're watching rather than listening, you're going to get to see this. But if you're just listening, that's okay too. I will describe what you're seeing on the screen. I'm going to open this up. Okay. So as you can see, if you're watching this is my iMovie setup here. So this is how I edit. Obviously, I have Breath of Life down here and Open Hearts here where I'm doing different editing. This is just the short things, some of the stuff that I make here. If you're listening and not watching, there's just some boxes of different images here. These are just all the different things that I've worked on at different times. This is my latest episode. This is the CDD episode that they're getting to see if you're watching on YouTube. This just to show you guys a little bit of the editing that goes on. There you go. Everywhere where you see a little box here is where I had to edit something out. And those edits usually go all the way over here at the very end into the blooper reel. And yes, I do have way too much fun with my blooper reel. But so this is the editing software that I use. I'm not going to get into any of the details. If you guys need stuff like that, there's lots of tutorials and stuff online, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick view, a quick image of what it might look like. And so it looks like you would expect it to look. It looks a little bit like a mess. So that's the editing side of podcasting. I usually take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to do that, to edit each and every episode, depending on how many distractions or how many times I had to stop to get a drink of my soda pop. And those things, they have to be edited out. So it takes me a little bit of time, a little bit of like maybe an hour or two for my own personal episodes. That's how long it takes. If I was doing audio, it probably wouldn't take me that much time, but the real time taker here whenever you're dealing with podcasting. Hopefully this is interesting, you guys. I hope I'm not boring you all to death, but I just wanted to give you guys some background into like all this stuff to give you an idea of what's happening with your host on a weekly basis so that you guys can kind of be a part of this with me. But the time consuming part about podcasting is actually something that you don't have to even stay and wait for, but it's the loading of things. So once I finish editing something in iMovie, I have to export it. I have to export it twice because The first one is the audio, and that goes over to Podbean so that Podbean can drop that episode whenever it's supposed to drop and send it through to all of the other platforms. We're on the podcasting app for the iPhones. We're on Google Play. We're on Stitcher. We're on iHeartRadio. I can't even remember all of them. There's a bunch of them. We're all on all those different platforms, but I don't have to load it to every platform, which is really nice because that would be crazy. That would take so much time. I just loaded into Podbean, but it takes about I would say maybe like 15 minutes for the audio and then about an hour for the video to load. So once it's exported those two ways, then I can put them into Podbean, and then YouTube is where the video goes. Now, the audio is super simple and easy, and it maybe takes a few minutes on Podbean to load. I enter all the information that I want in the descriptions, and then we're good to go. Now, YouTube, on the other hand, it takes, maybe an hour to export the video for that, and then probably an hour to an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how big the video is, for it to fully load and process into YouTube. And so those things are happening, but I don't really have to sit and watch them happen. I just need to check my computer every so often to make sure it's happening. But that's the big time consuming thing. So whatever I'm doing, whatever time I'm doing it, if I know I need to have an episode ready by like Monday of one certain week, I have it all prepared the night before. So I know that it's going to take me at least 2 hours just to export it, an hour probably to edit. So that's 3 hours where I know I need to set that aside. And so sometimes I get to it as I'm working throughout the week. I'll do a little bit of editing here and there, usually because I'm preparing for a live event. And so that's why I like the mega live events. I don't have to edit that, and I don't have to load it anywhere. It's just already there, which is so nice. It's just so much easier than this. So I'm going to do a little bit of a fun share screen for you guys again. I want to show you my OBS that I use for the Mega Live event. And again, if you're listening instead of watching, I will describe this for you guys. This is my OBS. This is where I would go live from, so you guys can see my little chat screen here. OBS is a software that allows streaming through multiple sources. And so the great thing about OBS is that you have the option of pulling all these different scenes. You can see my scenes. This is all from the most recent live event. So my squirrel, I have over here my little blasphemy, where that's Paul Washer repeating the word blasphemy. And then of course I have my RC Sproul, what's wrong with you people? And these are just the different images that I used on my latest live event. This is the beginning video of each live event. And so that is my OBS software. And it's great because it allows me to go from scene to scene, whereas Zoom, which is what I'm recording on right now, I'm recording through Zoom. I can't go from scene to scene like that. I can share screen, but there's not going to be a way where I can insert different stuff like that. So that's the cool thing about OBS. Now, when I'm going live through OBS, I have to use not Zoom alone, but Restream. So OBS is completely free, but Restream is not if you want to be able to stream to the amount of different channels that I'm streaming to. So I stream to every Friday, I stream to Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and 3 different Facebook pages. So my actual Facebook page, the group page, and the fan page. So and Instagram. Did I mention Instagram? I probably already said Instagram. So Restream is the paid subscription that I use for that. So I start on Zoom. I get the Zoom meeting started where it's recording just me. And then I head over to Restream. I fill out all the information. And then I open up my OBS, which is connected to my Restream. And that's how you can see the Restream comments on the side of the OBS screen. And then I go and I start streaming from OBS. And then OBS works with Restream to take me live through Zoom onto all of the different places. And I learned all of that through trial and error and a lot of mistakes. And so that putting all of that together was like a puzzle of like 1,000 little pieces. And it took me a lot of time to figure all of that out. And I still have not figured out how to have a guest on there doing all those things without an echo. So, I mean, I'm getting there, but hashtag still not professional. Anyways, that's how I go live. That's how I edit the background scenes, all the fun stuff. Hopefully you guys got to see a little bit of like, yeah, I'm wearing a cool shirt every time we record, but I'm still wearing my fuzzy pants, guys. My pajama pants, it's the best part of podcasting. You get to wear comfortable pants. It's encouraged. You need to wear comfortable pants. I can swivel in my chair And that's okay. That's okay to swivel in my chair. You know I can't be still. You guys know that. I can't sit still, and I don't want to wear uncomfortable pants, and you don't have to because no one can see, except for this particular episode where if you were watching on YouTube, you probably did see my fuzzy pants, and that's okay because they're cute. They've got little Care Bears on them, and they're comfy, cozy. So that's really all I wanted to show you guys. I'm trying to make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. I know that this is hopefully something that you guys like with alongside me, because I'm when I bring people on, if I have, whether it's Allie Beth Stuckey from Relatable or Alan Hunter from The Polite Leader, or authors like Brooke Bartz, she wrote Chronic Love, and of course also she's now one of our podcasters on this channel. When I talked to Costi Hinn, he wrote God, Greed, and the Prosperity Gospel. I talked to Ray Comfort, of course, who wrote several different, like dozens upon dozens of books. I've talked to director of the American Gospel, Brandon Kimber. I got to talk to the couple behind RefTunes. Whenever I'm talking to people who are content creating, or even like Patrick from Cave to the Cross Apologetics, I'm constantly trying to understand what's happening in their background scenes. And that's just the way that my brain works. And you guys watch alongside me, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback about the fact that I tend to ask them about what's happening behind scenes. What are they doing? How is it working with what they're using? Hopefully that means you guys like that kind of stuff, because I know I do. I love to hear what's happening behind screens, because it takes the veil away where you're thinking this is some sort of massive undertaking that I could just never reach. And it shows you, wait, no, it's possible. So there are so many different social media platforms that you can create content for, and they're all vying right now for video footage. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, even Pinterest is wanting videos now rather than actual pins. Twitter wants videos. They're all saying, hey, we want your videos. We want your video footage here. So they're encouraging that, which is a tremendous blessing for us as believers, because that means that we have the opportunity to create content on platforms that are currently right now not being super aggressive. They're not like real particularly happy about, Christianity, but they're not like massively upset about it either. So you have that ability. I know some friends that just create, like they began creating just content on Facebook alone and then ended up doing podcasting. So I know some folks that just started out over on YouTube, and now they've got, Facebook and other things running. If you have a specific social media source, like Kristen Everett, a very sweet listener, and she is creating content over on TikTok, and her stuff is fantastic. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's appropriate, which is something that you don't see just a whole lot on TikTok. But she's also going live on TikTok, which is, I'm sure, something that was very difficult for her to decide to do. But she's having the opportunity to share the gospel with people over there on TikTok, because she's doing something that not a lot of other people are doing. So if you have TikTok and you want to follow her, she is over there at xtin.rose. So I recommend you guys follow her on TikTok if you haven't already, so that she can see that, there's going to be some love sent her way for this. But there are all of these different platforms, so many different choices. Find the one that you like the most. Some people are just like, I only use Facebook. I can't handle anything else. Some people are like, I just like Twitter. I can't handle anything else. All of those are great places for you to be able to create content. If that's something you're interested in, I would say you don't have to have a fancy microphone. You don't have to have a fancy computer. You don't have to have editing software. You could just go live and not have to worry about editing. I kind of wish that's all I ever had to do, because I hate editing. Editing is my least favorite thing in the whole wide world. And you guys would understand that if you had to listen to yourself talk, because it's not as much fun as you think it would be. It's just not. Nope. Mm-mm. All of a sudden you hear all the weird, obnoxious things about your voice that you never knew were there. Yeah, that's what happens when you have to edit yourself. It's rough. You guys can pray for me. I would appreciate it. Anyways, I just wanted to give you guys some fun background scenes. Really, this is just to make up for the fact that we've had a really rough episode last week, and this week's supposed to just be more fun. So I hope it was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was a blessing to you to get to see a little bit more about what's going on behind the scenes here, and then maybe encouraging for you guys, if you were considering doing something like this, to see that it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's easy, because it's not. It's time consuming, and the 3 or so hours that I would put into each episode, just getting it prepared, There's also about an hour's worth of preparing for the actual episode, recording the episode, which usually takes, anywhere from an hour to 4 hours. And then, of course, there is the necessity of social media, getting in contact with everybody, talking with folks online. There's the need for actually setting up interviews, which takes quite a bit of time. You've got to go through and make sure everybody that you're interviewing is legit, and so there's a lot of work to this. I'm not saying that it's not a lot of work, because it really is. It's time consuming for sure, but it is, if you are concerned that it's too overly technical, that's the part that I would say, girl, you got it. You're good. Or guy, either way. You can do this. Podcasting is a lot easier than YouTube. Just saying right up front. YouTube, I'm blessed beyond measure that you guys are all watching, and I am completely and totally shocked that there are so many of you watching. It blows me away, because I didn't think anybody would ever watch this show. So, but YouTube does take more time in the long run than podcasting. So I usually recommend people coming onto my podcast or asking me opinions and stuff. I usually recommend that you start with a podcast if you're not sure about YouTube. And then you can add to it. Once you get comfortable with that kind of stuff, it's easier to add and go along and continue to do things like that. So hopefully, if you're listening and you weren't sure about this is encouraging to you guys. We do have a small community, and you have something to offer if you have a voice, if you have something serious, or if you have something funny, if you have something educational. I mean, think like the two of my top 5 favorite podcasts in the whole world would be like Women of the Table and Cave to the Cross Apologetics. And those are two completely different styles, but I love them both because I really enjoy learning something and getting to be entertained and laughing alongside people. And so that's kind of the idea that I love to promote whenever I'm talking to people about whether or not they should podcast, is that you have a circle of people who are going to listen to you that might not want to listen to anybody else. Maybe they don't want to listen to the big guys. They're tired of, the same old. I don't know why you would ever get tired of the same old, because we have some excellent podcasting preachers out there, but those people do exist. There's people out there that want to hear your specific opinion. I know that seems weird. It's weird to me, but it is a thing that does happen. So if you are considering it, hopefully this will help you. If you just wanted to see a little bit more about what all the madness is around here, I just really, really wanted to show you guys that it's hashtag still not professional around here, and I have to pack all this stuff up in a few weeks because we're heading to another assignment. So anyways, that's it. That's really all I wanted to share with you guys today. Hopefully this was fun and exciting, and hopefully I didn't say hopefully 18,000 times again, because I don't know why at the end of every episode I start saying hopefully a lot. It's hard to close down episodes. It is. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I want you guys to know that you are a tremendous blessing to me. I'm so thankful for you, that you're watching, that you're listening. If you have not already subscribed, liked, clicked all the buttons, done all the things, there's a bell or something on YouTube. Not real sure what that thing is about. Just kidding. You guys know what it's about. Click the bell. It's helpful. If you want to, you don't have to. So awkward. Sorry. If you haven't already done all those things, make sure to do them, because it's very encouraging to me. Also, if you haven't followed me yet on social media, there are options over here and the screen if you're watching, where you can follow me on all the different options. I'm also on Paler and TikTok, but I don't do anything on TikTok. I have a TikTok, but I don't do anything on it. So yeah, there's lots of different social medias that you can find me on. And if you want to reach out to me on social media, then that would be a blessing. I love to hear from you guys. And there's a mega list that happens on Friday, where I usually answer your questions that you've sent in through the week, or give you an update on what's coming up, or do giveaways, fun stuff like that. This past mail list was actually really fun, because I got a Yum box in, and a Yum box is a box of delicious, just kidding, hashtag not delicious at all, treats from other countries. And so I shared all the different weird, disgusting treats that we got in from Thailand. And so that was fun on Friday. So that's kind of a fun thing. If you follow me on social media or are subscribed on YouTube, you're going to get to see that. Unfortunately, it does not happen on the podcast, so I need to work on fixing that. But anyways, that's it. That's all I have for you guys this week. I hope this was a blessing, and I'll see you guys on Friday. God bless you, Humblebees. Bye.
Thanks for listening, Humblebees. This is Tulips and Honey. Over and out.
I think that diamond still needs a little more polish.
Yeah.
Through the CBD. Starting out strong. So make sure that you're always angling it the other way. No. There it is. There it is. Yes.
There's no video on here.
Did you hit play?
I did hit play.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
You and me.
Ha ha. But I'm recording, so I can put that you talking in the bloopers. Sorry.
So you're just gonna be talking to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm talking to my audience.
Well, yeah, but not to me.
Jeez. I can edit everything. Are you kidding me? Biblical beginnings at outlook.com. It's weird that emails have .coms.
I know.
This is going in the bloopers. I'm recording. It's recording right now.
Easy does it through here.
It's a waste of money. My box works fine. And I can't ever be still. I notice that whenever I'm like having to rewatch what I've already recorded.
You do the wiggle.
I wiggle constantly. I can't ever be still sitting over here.
That is.
I obviously the iPod. No,